Hello and welcome to the Weekend Warrior Weekly Update Show, aka the Wuss. I am your host, Luke, and I am very sorry that I haven't upheld this show that does not hold true to the weekly name that's in the title. Um, I'm sure I'll get roasted for it in the group chat, which is rightful. It's due to my feeble attempt to have a social life, but I'm alone again. I'm back, and we're good. It's good to be here. I've got Dylan and Tanner with me. Thanks, guys. And we're just gonna hop right into it because if I don't, this video will be 2 hours, and I'll never get around to editing it. So let's get into the game results of Week 5. We're just gonna pretend Week 3 and 4 never happened. But I'm gonna still talk about the records of the teams like they did. Lots changed in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Some teams that we thought were real contenders have become non-contenders. Possibly some coaches have left. I don't know. We'll talk about it. So let's start on the Thursday night game. We got Rams versus the Seahawks in Seattle. Stafford's connection with Woods is back. They look good. Russell Wilson is having a hard time in this game, and he gets hurt in the middle of it. Geno Smith comes back. You know Geno from the classic butt fumble, probably the most watched NFL That's not Geno?
No, that was
that's Sanchez. Okay, yeah. I get those two mixed up.
They both played for the Jets, though.
So yeah. Either way, tough ex-Jets. Not what you want to be in the NFL, unless your name is Sam Darnold, apparently. But he comes in, puts in a really good drive, and then throws a pick in his next one. So Rams go to 4-1. Seahawks go to 2-3. A lot of people are a little worried about the Seahawks. Maybe they should be. Rams get the win on the road in Seattle on Thursday night. The Jets play the Falcons in Atlanta. Falcons take the win 27-20. The Jets don't score in the first half of this game. Their offense is abysmal. Zach Wilson's thrown a pick in every game that he's played so far as an NFL player. Matt Ryan throws for 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zach Wilson simply does not. Not a whole lot to say about this one other than, two kind of tough teams battle each other. The Jets drop to 1-4. The Falcons are 2-3. It's kind of amazing that the Titans let the Jets get a win because they do look bad. The Patriots played the Texans in Texas. God, what city are the Texans? Why Houston? Jesus Christ! I was just like, I couldn't think of it. I don't know where they played at. But the Patriots win the game. Not a great game here. Kind of two teams that aren't that fun to watch. Patriots win a close one with a game-winning drive from Mac Jones. General Mills, that's the name I'm giving Davis Mills. Pretty proud of that. Throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Good for him. Didn't work out for him. The Texans dropped to 1-4 on the year. Patriots 2-3. The Lions played the Vikings in Minnesota. Dan Campbell and those poor damn Vikings cannot catch a break. They lose on another field goal, probably for the 4th or 5th time this year.
It seems like it's every game.
It might actually be every game. And in his post-game press conference, this huge ex-NFL tight end sheds a tear, man. I don't know. I don't know if you're a Lions fan or not. You're probably not. But you probably are still rooting for Dan Campbell. I mean, come on. This man cares more than anybody. You probably have your people out there that just say, suck it up and win. But they've been close a lot. They just can't get it done. On the other side of the ball, freaking Kirk Cousins and his coach, Mike Zimmer, get fired up after scoring 19 points against the Lions. There's 2 very different reactions after a really crappy game. Which is honestly tough to watch from the Vikings, who should have a better offense than they have. Alexander Madison maybe asking a very strong question. Dalvin who? I mean, they similar haircut, I'm not ready to say he's a better running back, but he played a heck of a game. Vikings move up to 2-3. The Lions still haven't won a game, 0-5. The Eagles go to Carolina with that scary holographic Panther and somehow pull out a win. I mean, it's incredible getting that done. Just knowing that thing is sitting behind the scoreboard waiting for you. Jesus Christ. Jalen Hurts likes his Heisman winner, Devontae Smith, first-round draft pick. Looks good. He looks good in an Eagles uniform. They got a good connection down there. Sam Darnold has easily his worst game as a Panther with 3 interceptions. This game is kind of a punt fest, battle for field position, and it was a tough scoring or low scoring affair, 21-18. But the Eagles pick up the win on the road, move up to 2-3 on the year. Panthers drop back to 3-2. The Saints pick up a win on the road in Washington, 33-22. Jameis Winston, 4 TDs. Still had to throw a pick, that way his reputation wasn't tarnished. But Washington's defense just isn't what people thought it would be especially after a really good defensive year last year. You can't win games with Adam Humphries being your leading receiver. Kamara has two touchdowns. Taylor Heineke's struggling, like backup quarterbacks probably should. Saints win on the road and move up to 3-2. Washington's 2-3, still hanging around in the division with 2 wins, even with the backup quarterback. It's worth noting. The Titans pick up a win on the road in Jacksonville, which is an easy thing to do, I suppose. 37-19. Tanny touchdowns, just throwing the ball around, but really this was a Derrick Henry game, which is kind of their formula for success on the offensive side of the ball. 3 touchdowns for him, running over people. I saw a clip where he ran over a dude when Ryan Tannehill was going for a run, like flattened, a DB, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, that man's an absolute semi-truck.
The unit.
Urban Meyer looks like he just came out of a mental asylum as a coach. I don't know. In all fairness, he's looked like he'd never thrown a challenge flag before. I don't know. I haven't seen. Obviously, I don't watch Jaguars games. I don't know if he's thrown one yet. But there was a tough play where his receiver may or may not have had possession of the ball. There's a whole 2-step after you receive it, and then then it could be counted as a fumble. But it was one of their tight ends caught the ball. Kind of took some steps, kind of didn't, whatever, lost the ball, and then it got returned for a touchdown. The players are looking around. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. Throw the flag. And they do because they peer pressured him, and he ended up losing the challenge. Oh, God.
He's definitely a college coach. You can tell.
Oh, my God. After that display, I don't know if he should go back to college coach. They need to put him on the ESPN desk, maybe.
He just needs to get back to his Ohio bars.
This is a game after he didn't even fly back with the team. I mean, good Lord.
No, he doesn't need to be a coach or a commentator for ESPN. He needs to be like some sort of bar hopper or something.
There you go.
Really enjoys the bars.
Yeah, clearly, and women much younger than himself.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't enjoy winning football games, though, apparently. And that's good because he's not doing it. He loses a big challenge and he loses the game. Jaguars fall to 0-5. Titans move up to 3-2. Dolphins play at Buccaneers. Dolphins really didn't have a shot in this one. Tom Brady throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. They basically had the ball for most of the game. You're not going to go into Tampa Bay when you play for the Dolphins with Jacoby Brissett and win the game. The Dolphins drop back to 1-4, and the Bucs score 45 points and move up to 4-1, which is good after coming off of a pretty flat week, which is what Tom is kind of known for. We're here, Tanner. I'm sorry. Packers go on the road to the here in Cincinnati. Get a win in overtime against the Bengals. Bengals had a real shot for a statement game here. Unfortunately, they couldn't kick the damn football. two big yellow
Nobody
sticks.
could. Nobody in that stadium could.
Great point. Nobody in that whole stadium knew how to kick a field goal this game, and it took Mason Crosby a few tries. Like, yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah, when it counts. I mean, that's what I needed to hear. Devontae Adams and the Aaron Rodgers connection looks great, and this one was just a comedy of field goals. I mean, you knew when that poor kid. Rookie kicker. I don't know what his name is. You probably do, Tanner.
Aaron McPherson.
McPherson. Yeah, that rookie kicker thought he hit the little flag, dangling in the wind. Thought he made it, and he started celebrating. And his peers had to tell him that he missed it, and then you knew it was over from there. But would have been a big game for the Bengals. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Didn't happen. Packers move up to 4-1. Bengals 3-2, still hanging around in the AFC North. The Broncos go on the road and lose to my Steelers at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, 19-27. I'm still, as a Steelers fan, not ready to say that we're a team, and I shouldn't, because we don't deserve that status. But Najee Harris, man, like he carried the entire game. He had the football the whole game. He had every pass seemed to be to him. Every running play, he had good yardage. He just kind of controlled the football game himself. Teddy tried to come back on us there at the end. It was a bigger lead than that until like the fourth quarter for sure. But it was a Najee Harris game, looking like he's going to be
Big Ben hit a bomb in that game too.
He did. It looked like I thought my eyes were deceiving me. It looked like AB was sprinting again, for a big game. Ben had a good game, I guess. It's just most of his pass plays were.
All things considered, he had a good game.
If you can get Najee going, yeah, I think anybody has a chance. Depending on it doesn't matter what quarterback you have in there. Anybody has a chance. But the Steelers get a big win. They move up to 2-3. I'm not sure what the Broncos. I can look it up really quick.
I think they're 3-2. I want to say.
Yeah, they were 4-1.
2 or 4-1.
They're 3-2 now.
They're 3-2 now. Okay, yeah. So, they go down to, yeah. Okay. The Bears go on the road and beat the Raiders 9-20. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that the Raiders had a hot start this year. I think they won their first 3 games. The last 2 were head scratchers for them. The Bears, both these teams kind of have like a coaching debate. A lot of people want Matt Nagy gone. Justin Fields actually showing a little bit of signs of success, getting his legs involved a little bit. But the Raiders offense just really couldn't get anything going against this Bears defense, who I thought, played a heck of a game. But it has come out now that the game is over, that they've been spending a little more time looking at John Gruden's computer and hating what they find. And since he has resigned, I think it was yesterday, he ended up resigning as the head coach. Or did he get fired? I don't know. Either way,
He was like technically a resign, but they pretty much told him.
Yeah, they pretty much said get out of there. So.
Yeah. Maybe rightfully so, based off of the allegations and the stories that came out about what he was saying.
I'm not trying to make light of this, but Urban Meyer's definitely going, woo, at least it's not on about me anymore.
Right. Yeah. He takes a little bit of heat off of Urban.
Urban Meyer's like, I look a little bit better now.
I would even go as far as to speculate that Urban might be in his emails right now writing some horrible things. That way he has a reason to resign other than going potentially 0-17 this year, which is he's full steam ahead towards. But anyway, I got off on a tangent. But the Bears beat the Raiders on the road 20-9. I don't have I think the Raiders are 3-2 now, and the Bears would be 2-3. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's right.
The Browns go on the road to Los Angeles, and the Chargers deal with them 47-42. This was a high-scoring game, and it's two really good offenses. The Browns, I like to think of this as like two different offenses, albeit, very good ones. The Browns have a really good rushing attack. The Chargers have a really good air game. It was fun to watch. It was like two different offenses at their best. But the Chargers edged this one out due to some, they got the ball in Baker's hands late, couldn't get it done. But man, what a game. Justin Herbert is starting to look like an absolute dog. He has been for the last few games. Not a whole lot to say other than this is just, a classic shootout. Dylan, what are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, Herbert threw for, combined yardage over 400 yards, 5 touchdowns total. I mean, like you said, neither defense could stop anybody for anything today. The Browns were, every time they handed the ball off to Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, it was at least a 10-yard carry every time. But Chargers edge it out. There was a questionable PI call toward the end of the game that a lot of Browns fans weren't happy about. But
right,
there's questionable calls every game, every week. So
even
take what you can get. And
the crazy part too for me is that even when the Chargers look really, really good, they don't they rarely win by a touchdown. I mean, it's just crazy. I don't know what it is, and nobody. I think if you asked anybody, nobody would call them a bad team. They're a top 10 team easily. It's just they won't cover most of the time. I don't know why, they just won't do it.
Another crazy stat is that Mike Williams, who has been, honestly underwhelming throughout most of his career, dealt with injuries. He was like a top 10 pick, but this season he's really turning it on. He had 16 targets last game. For 8 catches, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which is just, and he's had multiple games like that this year. It's just crazy.
I don't know if it's the emergence of like a rookie quarterback because he's a big dude, right? Like a really tall target.
Yeah.
Isn't he like 6? He's up there in like the tallest,
like
6'7", something like that. I don't know if it's that rookie quarterback connection. He likes to have the big target. I mean, Keenan Allen's been the story for that franchise, for several years when Phillip Rivers was there. But it's fun to Mike Williams, surge in value. And
Anthony Lynn, the former coach, was big on the run game. He wanted to run as much as possible, and which when he had Phillip Rivers, it was probably understandable. Especially his last couple of years, just because once you get older, you don't have the arm you used to have. And but then his first year with Herbert, he still wanted to just run the ball when Herbert could just throw, lasers everywhere on the field. And I think this new coach, Stanley, is finally, he knows, he came into the year knowing, he said, hey, we're going to throw the ball a ton, and because our quarterback can do that. So
right.
I was going to say, Cam Akers, he's a great, running back. He can catch the ball and stuff too. So it gets him involved in all the different options as well. Because he can do everything on the field that you need him to. I think he's a very talented running back. Somebody that the Chargers have needed since LaDainian Tomlinson.
He's an absolute athletic freak too. Like that dude, I've seen
strong
videos
boy
of that guy working out. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Chargers win 47-42, high scoring game. I think that makes the Browns 3-2 now. Chargers, I don't have the standings or their records written down from here.
They're 4-1. They're the top of the division right now.
Nice. Okay. The Giants and the Cowboys played on Sunday night. I think, was this the Sunday night game?
It was Bills and Chiefs.
No, it was the Bills and Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
That was the America's Game of the Week on Fox.
Right, that's what it was. Yeah, it was like the 4:30 or whatever for me. But the Cowboys take care of business against the Giants, 44-20. Big win against a division rivalry. It seemed like this was a tough game for the Giants.
Bad luck for the Giants, man.
Injuries just everywhere, plaguing, honestly, both teams. I think both teams kind of had people, on either side of the ball go down. But You saw Danny Dimes try to nudge one in for a touchdown, and he got up and he kind of tripped on the turf, and you're like, Jesus Christ, why don't he sit that guy down?
Man was foaming from the mouth. He was so.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
I mean, it looked like he was drunk as a skunk walking out of a bar, like after that hit. Like that's how gone he was.
And then Saquon on this crazy injury right before that, he just tripped over somebody's foot and just
the play was over. He just literally running around like you were running around on the playground, steps on somebody's foot and then just gets a big swollen ankle from it.
That ankle was huge.
Yeah. Kind of just took the wind out of the Giants' sails. It felt like weren't able to do much on offense after Daniel Jones left. But the Cowboys, they look like a team. Either way, all things considered, Dak Prescott looks good. CeeDee Lamb's having an incredible year. Zeke is starting to finally play like, he should have been playing for the last several years. And the Cowboys really haven't played a bad game this year, and they're 4-1, starting to run away with that division, especially now with all the injuries that the Giants have suffered, and they get the win at home 44-20. The Cardinals get the win at home against the 49ers. Kind of a weird game. You expected a little bit more from the Cardinals offense. Just weren't able to ever punch it into the end zone, it seemed like. Move the ball fine. Trey Lance comes in. You see a little bit of what he can do. Still, throwing rookie interceptions, things like that. But kind of has like a Kaepernick body almost. It looked like to me, like seeing him in the jersey just reminded me of like, a big, tall, almost like long armed quarterback that was able to run a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he was able to get into a Super Bowl. So, both defenses played pretty well. I think this was just a weird game considering the score. You thought you'd expect a little bit more, honestly, out of both teams on the offensive side. But the Cardinals pick up another win. They still undefeated. I think they're still 5. I think they're 5-0.
Undefeated team left, I think.
Only undefeated team left. Crazy to watch what Kyler Murray and lots of personnel on both sides of the ball for that team. Fun to watch. The Bills pick up a win over the Chiefs. Do what?
I was going to say, going to that game, but I think, any division rivalry game, you never know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just part of it. It is going to be high-powered. Mm-hmm. It's going to be nail-biter to the end, or it's going to look like both teams just don't know what in the world they're doing. Like, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I think Kyler Murray had 6 rushes for 1 yard. And you just don't see that out of Kyler Murray. Like like Kyler Murray's one of those, he can run down the field with the best. So I don't think he's good at running the ball as like Lamar Jackson is at QB. But I mean, Kyler Murray, he's either top 2 or top 3 quarterbacks with rushing. So just seeing that stat just kind of blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. His legs have always been a threat since he's been in the NFL. Even more so, honestly, than his arm was in the first year, but now you really get to see like what he can do with the ball, and he's emerging as one of the better quarterbacks. But you're right about that division. That division is an absolute dogfight out there. So I guess low scoring games are expected. Lots of juice in the stadium. We'll move to the Sunday night game. The Bills go to Arrowhead and get a big win over the Chiefs. Based on how the Chiefs defense has been looking, maybe more people should have saw this coming. The Bills have been playing really well ever since they lose a really weird game at the Steelers that is now a total head scratcher for that whole season. But the Bills look like they might be the best team in the league now. Josh Allen looks really good. It's crazy when they get it done without their star player, Stephon Diggs. He didn't really have much to say in this game, and they still kind of blow out the Chiefs. Wasn't ever really close. I said a little bit about the Chiefs defense, but Chiefs offense, they're turning the ball over a little bit. I think Edwards-Helaire went out with an injury in this game. So maybe they didn't have the running threat that they needed, but you expect a little bit more out of Pat Mahomes to win some of these some of these
Well,
gunfights. But
not only is the Bills' offense looking just fantastic, but their defense is also like a top, potentially one of the best defenses in the league. So they're just like they're running it on both sides of the ball right now. They're just getting it done.
Yeah, they have absolute athletes too.
And talking about the Bills' defense for sure, like I think Trevon White, he's easily, I think, been in the running for Defensive Player of the Year for the past couple of years, and I think he just still makes a case every single year why he should be in that talk.
If it wasn't for I don't know his first, Diggs, the cornerback for the Cowboys, yeah, dude. I mean, good God, that guy's a freak this year.
Every game this year, interception.
He's doing incredible things. But yeah, you're absolutely right about the Bills defense holding the Chiefs to 20 points in their own stadium. I don't know. It's probably been years since that's been done, if I had to guess. But pick up a huge win on the road, 38-20. That should make the Bills 4-1. I guess that makes the Chiefs 3-2 now after.
They might be.
Hope that doesn't happen. But
are they 2-3? Or are they 3-2?
I know they lost to the Ravens. I mean,
and they lost to the Chargers too. So they're 2-3.
They're 2-3. Wow. Yeah. Is it panic button time in Kansas City? I don't know. We don't have time to talk about it.
You can't ever count out Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. He's that's a tough slate. Chargers, Ravens, and then Bills. That's a really tough slate. You got to think Andy Reid will go to Waffle House, sit down, take a look at the menu, order an all-star, and then change a little bit on the other parts of his big old game plan there.
An all-star solves everything.
Oh man, it has in my life. And then finally, the Monday night game, Colts played the Ravens in Baltimore, and the Ravens pick up a win. It didn't look like they were going to. Carson Wentz had the offense moving the ball. Jonathan Taylor looked good. Pittman was running around. But you can't count Lamar out. He started, dancing a little bit. Had some really good throws. Mark Andrews had the game of his entire life. It just seemed like that was his guy that game, and it worked out for him. They get the win in OT. Don't even bother with the field goal. Just throw it in the freaking end zone for the win. You don't see that too much.
Lamar has pulled like 3 games out of his butt this year.
They don't. Granted, they don't have personnel on the offensive side of the ball. Like, I mean, Hollywood Brown is okay. The Lizard King, Sammy Watkins. His name is the Lizard King. That's got to be my favorite nickname. I don't even know how you get that, but those are his weapons. And I guess Mark Andrews you can consider, but no running game. Lamar is the running game. And it's crazy what he's been able to do virtually by himself this year. That should make the Ravens. Are they 4-1 now? And the Colts dropped to 1-4.
They got the Chargers next week.
Oh man, that'll be a fun game. That will be a fun game.
It will definitely be an offensive game.
I don't want to look ahead too much. No, that's just like Sunday morning, whatever.
Early game, yeah. That should be a prime time game right there.
Oh yeah, that'd be a fun one.
Who is a prime time game for Week 6?
We'll get there. Don't get ahead of yourself. But those are the recaps for the week. So let's go to what happened this week in fantasy. How about it? Who pulled off wins? I know it's a little bit unfair to go over it, given the fact that some of y'all might have had good weeks that I didn't decide to make a video for. Don't really have anything to say about that, but we'll start off with my team. How about it? Cincinnati Sloppers absolutely slopping the Washington Wife Beaters. Y'all heard about it in the chat. Jake got a dog walking this week. You can see my top scorers: Kamara, Pitts, Chubb. It's kind of weird that your top scorer isn't, your quarterback isn't even on here. That means you had some absolute players this week. Tom Brady's 5-touchdown game couldn't save him. I ended up having a pretty high-scoring week. Andrew loses to is that Randall? Yeah, to Randall, 125 to 107. Looks like Andrew had Devontae Adams Sanders, which is probably a free agent pickup. Not a lot of people drafted Sanders. Looks like Randall might have just won with Austin Eckler here. And Zeke had a good game as well. But then it kind of
good running back week.
Yeah, good running back week is always good because that means your team has some stability.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry's ponytail. Jordan gets a big win over McKinley. Wow. So I think Jordan had a tough start to this fantasy year. And now has he won 3 in a row? I think he's won 3 in a row. And I think McKinley's the exact opposite, right? He had 2 wins out of the gate.
I beat McKinley week 1, but then
he won 2 in a row. Okay. Yeah, you see their top performers there. Jordan had Hollywood Brown, Derrick Henry, which is a good player to have. Jalen Hurts is his QB that game. That's interesting. And then McKinley, Josh Allen, Najee, who I've already talked about, Kelsey. But 147, 133 in favor of Jordan. Poor Austin puts up 160 points and loses to the top scorer.
I think that might be the top scorer of the year so far, Zach.
182.
180. This is a very high-scoring week in the NFL.
He's the man that missed like half the draft and was convinced he was done for, and now he's won 2 straight.
I mean, look at these top 3 players, though. You're not going to count yourself out with these 3 guys. That's for sure. These guys are absolute dogs. But poor Andrew. I mean, poor Austin, dude. You got to feel good about having Justin. How did he lose this game? Let's go into this. He had Herbert. This is incredible. How did he lose? I mean, he did put up 160 points, so I mean, I shouldn't be too hard on him, I guess.
But this is Austin's best game of the season.
Austin's best. I mean, he's getting unlucky here for sure. Josh Jacobs maybe didn't want him in. Honestly, his 3 best players are by far, his best players of the week. Nobody else had really big campaigns. And then Zach just kind of had everybody.
Oh, my God, his kicker scored
outside of Saquon. His kicker went off. Jesus Christ.
Couldn't lose this week.
That's a tough blow. I'm sorry. You got to think you'll get a win putting up that many points, though. Don't give up. That's all I can say. And then tough. You fellas. Here. Yeah, y'all got 3 minutes here. What happened? I mean, 128, 125, both good teams, good fantasy teams.
Here's what happened. I thought I had a dub. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was up 13 points or I was up 11 points, something like that. I was up double digits. And all he had left was the Bills' defense. And I was like, they're going against Mahomes.
The Chiefs.
Mahomes is just going to put up points on them. I'm fine. I look in the second half. They got like a fumble recovery for a touchdown. They have they have an interception with pick 6, another interception, and a fumble recovery with a couple sacks thrown in there. And before I know it, I'm losing.
Sprinkle in a couple sacks. The recipe for defensive success.
I went to bed essentially about halfway through the third quarter. I'm thinking, I'm not going to win this fantasy game anyway. And I was like, I need to get to bed anyway. So I just went to bed. And I woke up and I just wanted to check, my fantasy team, just see how bad I lost by. And I see that I won. And I said, how in the world? So I had to just look and see what got me that. And it was, that pick 6 and the extra interception fumble recovery. Because when I checked my score, I already had the 1 fumble recovery. But, of course, all the points allowed, kept taking my points out. I'm like, I don't know what the Bills defense is going to – they may get a pick, but I knew that still wouldn't be enough.
Seems so like they held up.
Game, but, I mean, it was a good game overall.
Seems like they held up.
Sure had the best, fantasy week-wise, individual players.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm in a close battle every week. It never fails. I'm always in like a tight one. I can never just relax, except for the last week when Jake just absolutely destroyed me. But for some reason, but every other game has been just like that.
We're back. I had to split the clips due to a lack of me having the most updated version of Zoom. I don't necessarily know what that means, but we'll just pick back up where we left off. And what I was saying when we left off is about how enjoyable this year of fantasy has been due to how good everybody's team is. There's really no complete flops. I mean, everybody's outside of Austin has picked up a win this year, 3-2, 2-3, lots of good teams. And then Tanner sits atop with the best record currently. But even Austin, who is 0-5, scored a ton of points, second most. He just played the biggest winner this week. Very tough loss for him, but it's a great year for fantasy. You don't know who's going to come out on top this year, and that's kind of how it should be.
It was the best kind.
Right. Let's just move right into the player performances, and we'll look at the scoring leaders. And we'll start at the QB. I'm going to go full screen here. Let's take a look at who the top QBs were. Close out some tabs to make everything look a little better. Maybe if I can move. I'll just keep one guy up here. Top 3 QBs: Justin Herbert, 42 points. Lamar Jackson, 41. Tom Brady, 37. I know Herbert and Tom Brady threw for 5 touchdowns. Looks like Lamar had 4. Josh Allen, number 4. Jameis Winston is starting to look a little bit like it should. I feel like, sometimes you had quarterbacks that were up here that didn't belong. Week 5, people are starting to separate themselves.
Except for David Mills.
General Mills, baby. Just getting it done. I don't know. Who is he throwing to outside of Brandon Cooks? It's incredible. I mean, the fact that you can be a backup for the Texans and then throw,
Lillard's still on the team.
No, he's on the Dolphins now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can't remember.
I really don't know. They have David Johnson at running back. That's all I know on the Texans.
David Johnson was talked about as a decent running back when he was on the Cardinals. Good for him. Hopefully, we'll see what he becomes. But right now he's number 6 on the week 5 list. That's a good start, right? Way to go.
Step in the right direction.
I hope that name catches on because he does just look like he could be any random bowl of cereal. Top running backs: Austin Eckler. He's a big receiving back. Had a receiving touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor. Sharing snaps, but still getting his fair share. Myles Gaskin,
116 receiving yards. Wow.
116 receiving yards on 3 plays. He kind of broke one early. Yeah, it was like a dump off, and he just broke it loose for like 70 or so. Myles Gaskin, also, 10 receptions. That's not a bad receiving core. That's really interesting with Brissett in there throwing to him, preferring him as a target. Derrick Henry just steamrolling people. 0 receptions. Just give it to me right here, and I'll run it down there.
But he doesn't need to catch the ball. Just give him the rock and just let him go.
Let him just steam through people. Yeah,
if
absolutely.
he ever became a consistent receiver, he would be literally unstoppable. He would be the most unstoppable running back of the past 30 years.
It's entirely possible. Yeah. The fact that he's that big and is able to cut is unreal. Alvin Kamara, 100 yards mixed. Alexander Madison, Dalvin Who, 26 fantasy points, 100 yards on the ground, 47 receptions, touchdown. Crazy what he's been able to do. Kareem Hunt getting his fair share of the snaps at Cleveland. It's crazy that some people have. I don't know. Let me scroll down and get some Javonte Williams rushing for them, and Kareem Hunt's the second back in Cleveland.
Hey, don't diss Javonte Williams, all right? He's a future star.
He could be. He very well could be. Let me do this really quick. Save this to my. Yeah, there we go. That's saving the recordings. Hopefully that does what I need it to do. If not, we're all in trouble. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Mike Williams, who we've already talked about. Hollywood Brown having a good game. The Browns are showing up. Antonio Brown. God, I still don't know how I feel about him. Kadarius Toney is a very interesting player. I'm a little bit upset that he is currently owned. I don't know who has him, but I was thinking that might be a sneaky pickup. He did punch. He had a really good night. He did punch a dude, and now they have a ton of injuries. That might be a player that he looks for. It's really odd for Randall to get so much production out of two wide receivers that probably weren't even drafted, unless Jake Dillon picked them up. But
Jake drafted Antonio Brown.
I figured so. But whatever, very interesting there. Mike Evans, Jamar Chase, who we've come to know. Robert Woods finally plays well. DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, all decent wide receivers. Kadarius being the big surprise here. Go to tight end. Let's take a look here. That was weird. It had Mike Williams pulled up next to the David Njoku. His face was next to it. I didn't know how to feel about it. Mark Andrews had a crazy good game, like I've already talked about. Njoku is an interesting one. Kyle Pitts, man. Dawson Knox, Hunter Henry, which a nostalgic Chargers fan might be happy to see, maybe not. Travis Kelce, Dalton Schultz has come along in that Cowboys uniform. Very interesting. The rest of these guys probably just caught a touchdown or so, but fairly standard. Travis Kelce being 6 might be the lowest he's been all year. And no peep out of Darren Waller this week, which is interesting. But when you only score 9 points, I mean, screw it. We'll look at kickers. We ain't done that before. Let's do it this week. Nick Folk, baby. Pounding the ball. 17. He had 4 field goals, an extra point. Did he really miss one and still get all these points? Oh, he just hit some bombs. Okay.
Yeah, he's going points for the bombs.
Okay. And then there's Joseph, who even Zach's kicker, I don't know. We haven't looked at kickers yet all year. Shout out to kickers. I didn't know how it was going to look with where did what's his name land on? Oh, here's McPherson. Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
0 points. I say 0.
Yeah, it's 0 points. All right. Where did what's his name end up? Did he actually?
Where's Mason Crosby at? Yeah.
Wow.
Wait.
13.
Yeah.
He still hit 4 field goals.
Yeah, so he must have hit some bombs.
Yeah. Cincinnati gave that game away, man. He gave that game away. Those are your top players. Let's move on to Steamers Dreamers. As always, your host is going to get you started because I have that luxury. That way I know that my name won't get stolen. Hopefully, I doubt that my player is your guy. I've already kind of talked about him, and I just wanted to reiterate just how darn proud I am that he was able to do what he was able to do. And you won't find me gushing about Steelers offensive players as much, probably after this week ever. But Najee had a crazy game. He, like I said, it just seemed like he had the ball in his hands every play. Let me scroll down here and see what he actually did. 122 yards on 23 carries, 2 receptions for 20 yards. He just got it done. He did what he needed to be, what we needed him to do. And after I've watched James Conner run around for a couple of years there, it's really good to see. Elite. Jesus Christ. Don't even. So he's my dreamer of the week. He's had some decent performances. This was a game that I think Steeler fans are going to remember for him. So shout out to Najee. Dylan, who you got this week, big dog?
My dreamer, and he's done this twice now. And it's Alexander Mattison. And every time that Dalvin Cook is down for the count, he comes right in there and just produces identical numbers. He's done it twice this season. I feel like he does it a lot. Anytime Dalvin Cook's hurt. People, and the scary thing is for Dalvin Cook fantasy owners is that even if Dalvin Cook comes back healthy, you might the coach has got to start considering involving him more in the offense now, and involving Mattison more in the offense, just because he goes out there. I mean, you look at the 2 weeks that he started, 112 yards the first time, 113 yards the second time. He always catches a ton of passes too. He scored, he scored in both games. Or no, he didn't score in the first time, but he scored a reception touchdown in this last game. And he's just he's really good when he's given the starter load, He's
I think he's similar to Dalvin too. I mean, as odd as it is to say, I mean, he's not an oversized back like Dalvin is. He's just very crafty, and he's kind of an every down guy too. But yeah, that's a great point about him getting mixed into the offense when Dalvin does come back. What do they decide to do? I think even potentially now when you draft Dalvin as a fantasy owner, as much boom potential as he has, you start thinking do I pick up Madison later for when he goes down, and then you still got a Vikings running back. They just get it done. I mean,
that's exactly why I drafted Madison in the last pick in our draft, because I was like, no, Dalvin's bound to miss at least a couple games, so I got to have that backup ready to go.
Not a bad strategy to have. Even, with McCaffrey and Chuba Hubbard, why not? Nobody's going to draft him. That way you have that insurance back. What about you, Tanner? Who's your dreamer?
Well, you took Najee Harris from me.
Oh, okay. Najee wanted some love.
And I don't think we can do defense and special teams.
No, we're not doing defense and special teams.
Just because I wanted to pick on Dylan a little bit. But,
oh, God. That's brutal.
But if I had to pick one, I would have to say Ezekiel Elliott. I think that he is, and I hate to say this because I hate the Cowboys more than I hate freaking Ohio State and Tennessee, and that's saying a lot. But I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to start coming together. I think just the Dallas offense is starting to pick up steam, and just the whole Dallas team. I think Mike McCarthy has finally figured out how to get this team to perform. And if somehow the Dallas Cowboys somehow lose the NFC East, I would put the blame on Ezekiel Elliott if he did not put up numbers like he has been. Ezekiel Elliott has been a beast.
I mean, that team. Go ahead. Sorry.
I hate to. No, you're good. I hate to say it, but he just feed him the ball. He's still not a good running back to throw to. So I mean, he caught. I mean, what he did, he caught a touchdown this week, or 2 touchdowns. I can't remember. But
2 receptions for 2 yards. It was just kind of like a little scrambler out to the right. I think, if I remember.
One of them was I think it was a touchdown, but
yeah.
I still wouldn't trust him throwing the ball. But just overall, I think Ezekiel Elliott, if you wanted to get him, if anybody in our league wanted to, you're going to have to make, I think, a really good trade and give up a good essential player to get Ezekiel Elliott, because I think he's going to pick up steam, and I also just think the Dallas Cowboys will as well.
That's a good shout. I mean, the past 3 weeks, he's netted 100 yards, you know, whether that be rushing or receiving. I think the knock has been on Zeke is, you know, not only is it, you know, the big expectations coming from Ohio State, and he had like a really solid rookie year, and then it kind of like had a worse year ever since then. But the knock on Zeke has been like, you know, that offensive line, you know, is, you know, a top offensive line. Where's the production at? You know, it seems like the game is always on Dak Prescott. You know, they need Zeke to come into his own as a running back to kind of spread the offense out. And I wouldn't give any, you know, any flack to Zeke about what he's been able to do at least these last 3 weeks. But Tony Pollard, too, might be putting the pressure on this guy because he's looking like he's like a solid number 2 option as well. So,
sorry, Luke, go on, finish your statement.
I was just going to say, like, just credit the Dallas offense in general, you know, because it's finally starting to look like it, you know, a lot of people have said it should for the last 2 to 3 years.
And I just want to go back just to Ezekiel Elliott here for a second. If you look over the past couple of years since Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott have been together, most of the time when Ezekiel Elliott's not on the field and it's only Dak Prescott, just the Dallas Cowboys offense doesn't know how to function. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of that has to do with Ezekiel Elliott. If he's in the backfield, you know, they're going to try to cover a lot, or they're going to really put the pressure on the running backs and they're going to throw a lot. And then, of course, the defenses, they start getting worse. They're going to drop back more into some sort of cover 2 or cover 3. And then they know when it happens, and Zeke just, the Dallas Cowboys know how to read, and they just let Zeke go. Mm-hmm. And so.
Go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, I think if Zeke stays healthy and nothing happens or anything, or he doesn't get in any more trouble, I definitely think the Dallas Cowboys offense will be better. And I think it's going to lead to better production from other fantasy players, you know, like Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. So having Ezekiel Elliott in that backfield will make not only his fantasy points go, but I think it's going to help other players on the Cowboys.
The main thing I've noticed with this Cowboys team is the more Dak has to try to take over the game, the more that the Cowboys just struggle in general. Mm-hmm. When Dak, it's not the Cowboys' recipe for success is not when Dak is having to go out there and throw it 50 times to try to win you the game. They win easily, or they win a lot more often and a lot more comfortably when Zeke is running very well and Dak only has to throw the ball, you know, 25 times. Mm-hmm. And that's when the offense is clicking the most, I feel like. And Dak is a lot more efficient that way. He's not having to try to force passes and force these crazy catches to try to stay in games.
And I hate to spend too much time on the Cowboys, but as a closing thought too, you got to give a lot of credit to their defense as well this year. I mean, it's been their defense has been a huge knock on them, and you can kind of trust them this year to, you know, get the ball and into the offense's hands, and that really helps your running back. You can kind of control the clock a little bit. You don't have to worry about getting into a shootout late in the game. So they're looking like a top 5 team right now. I don't know any way else to put it. They played the Bucs close game 1. They've won every game and in pretty good fashion on most of them. So a shout out to the Chargers game was close. Chargers
kind of hurt themselves in that game.
Yeah, they could have easily lost that game, but they could have easily won the Bucs game too. So 4-1, 5-0, you know, it's tough to win in the NFL. But they're getting it done. Let's move on to everybody's favorite segment. What do we say? The steamers of the week. And boy, do I have a good old Cleveland steamer.
No pun intended.
No pun intended at all. Or did I? Odell?
Odell, is that you?
Sir, are you back or do you still play on the bench?
Uh-oh.
Based on this fantasy output, big dog, I just don't know. The Cleveland Browns scored 40-plus points. OBJ didn't have anything to do with it. 2 receptions for 20 yards. And we're talking about an all-timer here. I mean, he was being spoke of when he was on the Giants as a world beater wide receiver, like as somebody that we were gonna. And he's immortalized himself with one of the greatest catches in the NFL that we've ever seen. Obviously, he had a temper problem, but this Browns offense seemingly doesn't need him. I know in one of the earlier episodes, Jake was talking about his team's offensive output, and he didn't like OBJ coming back.
Looks like he's right.
He might be right. I mean, it's crazy to say. This guy obviously has crazy talent, and I know there's still some speculation that he might be, playing through injury, which I'm sure he is. But I wouldn't say he's limiting, his touches. It seems like he's on the field. They're just not going to him long. And I would say that Baker's connection with Landry and Peoples-Jones, and I think they got another kid like Schwartz or something.
Apparently Njoku as well.
Yeah, and Njoku this week. He just has a better connection. Odell Beckham and Baker just don't sync very well for whatever reason. And 2 receptions on 20 yards when your team scores 40 points. Even Odell is a big enough personality where this can cause some locker room things. I mean, this is a tough look for, somebody that we regard as a very talented player in the NFL. And you gotta score more than 4 points. I think he was on my bench, and that might be where he stays until he shows me that he lives up to, his reputation. Dylan, who was your steamer?
Well, this isn't just an of the week. This is for the whole season.
Oh.
And it's Robbie Anderson. This man it's his second year on the Panthers. He got Sam Darnold back. Everybody kind of assumed he was going to be wide receiver 1 for this team. And he had a, okay week 1. And since then, it's just been hardly anything. Just DJ Moore is the clear number 1 guy on that team. And even with Christian McCaffrey out, who takes a lot of those passes away, Robbie Anderson still can't do anything. Apparently, he's just kind of there, and
that's
people assumed that because the Sam Darnold connection, they played together in New York, that it might help, and it just hasn't. And he just even made a comment about how they need to get him more involved, and it just hasn't happened yet.
I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but he was actually like a factor for the Jets. I mean, I feel like he was having good years on the Jets, and the situation really hasn't changed. He's getting the same quarterback, better franchise, more looks. He's on the field a lot. They're just not going to him. And I mean, having Christian McCaffrey might change the scheme for the offense a lot. Robbie is kind of a speedster, like downfield threat. Yeah. You're not seeing him, the ones that he's probably broke out, but I do think it's a really good shout by you, Dylan, about his entire fantasy output this year, because I can't imagine being a Robbie Anderson owner week 1 looking at 12-7 and being like, down game. And then ever since then, he hasn't scored that many. So hopefully he's on some benches.
I regret to inform you that I am the Robbie Anderson owner.
Bingo. The 3. Look at this bust. 3 of 5, boom, to 0 out of 5. I mean, his bust potential is through the roof. But yeah, 36 fantasy points. I mean, you can get that from your QB in one night. That's over the whole season. Look at that haircut.
That's what Mike Williams scored just this last week.
Is that what's going on inside his helmet? There's no way.
Apparently, so.
What does that look like?
I think he like cornrows it up.
Okay. I was about to say there is just no shot that gets in a helmet, but
there's a lot going on there.
I would love to see if they put like holes in the helmet for some of these, like like a Cam Newton derby hat kind of deal. But Tanner, who you got for steamer?
Okay, so this guy, I think he's been a dreamer all year. He is about to be a steamer for the rest of the season under unforeseen circumstances. The man out of Las Vegas, Darren Waller.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no. He's done?
I don't think The only reason I say this, Derek Carr is also he's had a bad couple of games the past couple of weeks. Derek Carr, he looked amazing the first 3 weeks, made John Gruden look like he was, going to be the stuff this year in the AFC West behind Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. But Darren Waller, I feel like he's not going to produce much anymore. And the only reason I say that is because Derek Carr has not been that good the past couple of games. And with John Gruden, with John Gruden gone, I just don't think this team's just going to know how to do anything, especially with the interim head coach coming in. I know, like I said, it's a very hot take, unpopular opinion, but that is just what I believe.
Finally got his points pulled up here for you. Sorry. Yeah, kind of gone down in like he had a huge game 1. He was taken really highly in the draft, I remember too. It'll be
much like people were looking at him as pretty much it's Kelce, and then he's like the second guy right there.
Yeah.
Kelsey's on a level of his own, but
I think Kittle, Kelce, all those guys. Waller was like 3 or 4, I want to say, but you're right about what John Gruden was saying about him. He was like, this guy's an absolute stud, and John Gruden's gone now. So I don't think it's an unpopular opinion among people in the NFL that this guy is an absolute baller. But his production has kind of gone down, has trended down a little bit, not getting very many touchdowns. Decent for a tight end, but tight ends are also seeing some love.
It's not like he's going to be like a huge bust or nothing, but I don't think he's going to get the projected points that he's probably projected this year, especially. And I think the locker room chemistry is going to be affected now with, the whole situation going on. And I think there's going to be a lot of tension, especially with that offense. Derek Carr was the guy for John Gruden. It didn't seem like it the first year with Gruden, but Carr showed himself that he could do it. And I just don't think Carr's going to have trust in any other coach besides Gruden. I think it's going to be hard. And I don't think if Derek Carr has trust in his coach, I think it's going to be hard to have trust with any other players on the team. So that's the only reason I state that opinion.
The only thing that I would have against that opinion is like whoever does come in as the interim, which I don't think has been announced yet. I could be wrong.
It hasn't been.
They might just assess the talent they have, and they're like, hey, we got Derek Carr and we got Darren Waller. Let's make something happen with these two. But now defenses on the same coin are going to be looking at the talent on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe they lack a scheme and they're just like, we're just going to shut this guy down, make everybody else make plays. So it'll be very interesting going forward. I would love if like Darren Waller is either your boom or bust player every single week. Like you just involve him in this segment for every single week. He's either a dreamer or a steamer.
I'm not going to do that. But I definitely think just right now that's just what I see at the moment. Yeah. But I definitely think, I could be wrong. I mean, this is why it's hot take time right now. Just kind of what you think.
He's trending. He's definitely trending downward. Just based off of the situation.
A guy on the come up for the Raiders offense is Hunter Renfrow. The man is slowly
he did make that crazy play on I think it was on special teams where he tackled that dude on the fake. I mean that was
against the Chargers. Yeah, they tried to run.
Yeah.
He just read it immediately. He knew exactly what was going to happen.
All right, it's about
tackle.
It's about that time where I can't remember where I'm going. So we're going to go to the injury report. With me missing weeks, it has been, a couple weeks. We got guys out for sure. Tua and Gronk has been out as well with a rib injury. Third straight game he's missed. So you wouldn't have known about it until now if you watched the show. Jarvis Landry, I think, also last suited up week 2. Tyrod's been out. Who are some of the big ones from last week? I know we talked about Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. It looks like Danny's going to come back for next week. Saquon's probably going to miss a few.
Yeah, they're saying, aren't they saying?
It's a low ankle sprain. It's not a high ankle sprain like they say. So he should be back quicker, like probably the 3 to 4 weeks. I'll see if I can find anything on that. Juju's done for the year.
It's the year. I didn't realize that.
Juju's done for the season ending.
I saw news on that, and I was about to ask you, Luke, if it was season ending or if that was just a rumor I saw on something I saw on Twitter.
In all seriousness, he is not had much production this year, which I kind of predicted. Like the emergence of Chase Claypool kind of shadowed Juju last year. And the Steelers' wide receiving core, they're all good receivers. So it's kind of hard after, Antonio Brown was the guy for years to really look at one guy and say, like, yeah, he's our clear guy. Even when Juju last had his crazy season, Antonio Brown was still on the team getting double covered. I mean, he was in the apex of his career as well. Maybe, I don't know, after what he's been doing lately, but
ever since Juju's rookie year, I've always thought he's been pretty underwhelming as far as what everybody anticipated him to do.
Very talented. He's got a big body, is what people don't realize. I mean, he does. It's just seemingly he's kind of just been overshadowed since for the last few years. Russell Wilson out. I think it's a surgery on a middle finger. I don't know how long he'll be gone.
I said something. I saw something said approximately 6 to 8 weeks.
That's crazy.
His finger looked nasty when it happened.
But nasty. Of course, you got all those tendon sheaths and stuff and all that.
Really odd to see Russell Wilson sidelined. Because he's just he seems to be the most dependable quarterback out there. David Montgomery, 3 to 5 week window on him. I didn't even know about this one.
Yeah, Damian Williams, the backup, had a pretty good game for the Bears, though. He did pretty well.
Excellent. Will Fuller still on injured reserve. I think he missed. I think this is a finger injury. Any other big ones? I mean, I'm sure I'm missing some, but
I mean, those are the main ones.
James White might be a big one. Yeah, with him being down.
Still out. I think the crazy thing with the Bears is that I think Andy Dalton is healthy, and they finally decided to stick with Justin Fields for now.
Matt Nagy might keep his job for that very reason. I don't know what he's thinking. I really don't. Like, what you're getting out of Andy Dalton, but you're not getting anything great. I don't know if that's
just okay.
It's okay. It's just not that franchise is hungry for a guy, like let a new guy be him, it's not Andy's not your future. I mean,
we had to
think doesn't work out.
For the Chicago Bears, the last great player to play for, I know people say Jay Cutler, but even before then was Rex Grossman, which led them to the Super Bowl 41. Mm-hmm. And you could easily say that it wasn't all him, that you could say special teams. I mean, heck,
the weirdest part about the Bears to me is that their defense is known for they're Steelers-esque, like always a decent defense. Get a decent quarterback there. I mean, just figure it out. If you haven't done that for years, that's what the Steelers – nobody's really looked at Big Ben and say, like, that guy throws the football around. He's the playmaker. He hands the ball off to a crafty running back or gets it to a playmaker and then lets the defense work. I mean, that's just what we've been known for years. I don't know why the Bears are not looking at their franchise and thinking the same thing, but that's beyond me. That's the injury report. I'm going to try to find a better source going forward for those. so we can get like an accurate representation of who went down during that week's games. Because right now, I don't know. I'll check into that for next week. But as a closing thing here, let's take a look at next week. I've got Dylan 3-2. We're both coming off pretty decent weeks. I will not be starting Sam Darnold this game. I will be starting your quarterback against you. I think I don't have Herbert. I don't think actually.
No, you don't have Herbert. Austin does.
I don't even know who I have, but I really screwed up. I mean,
But it's not Sam Darnold.
I don't remember. I don't even know who my quarterback is in our league. But good God, it's not going to be Sam Darnold. I finally put him in, and he has his worst game. Still come out with a win somehow. But Jesus Christ, scaring me to death.
Your backup is Ryan Tannehill. Is that really a better option?
I think based off of last week, yes, and it's not even close.
I'll give you Joe Burrow. I'm offering a trade right now. I
will entertain Joey B trades. I'm not gonna lie. Why wouldn't I?
Listen, week 2, Austin offered me Herbert for Dak straight up, and I should have like.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Hey,
I'll take one of these quarterbacks. You're sitting on 2 good ones, but he's gonna probably go with the Rams connection here for next week. Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp. Hopefully they can connect. You got McKinley going up against Randall in fantasy and in real life. That's an incredible storyline. Let's see if somebody can do the clean sweep against each other. Lots of bragging rights going down. 2 very close teams, 2-3, 3-2. We'll see what happens there. Good projections from both teams. Andrew and Jake going to take on each other. 2 Titan quarterbacks. Man, he's sitting on Mahomes and Rodgers. I'm going to have to start looking for some trades. Only got a few more seconds here, but we're kind of closing in. It looks like, God, I can never remember who that is. Jordan and Austin. Austin, good luck, buddy. That's all I'm going to say. And then Tanner, who's currently sitting atop in record, is going to take on Zach.
Going up against a hot Zach team.
Hot Zach team.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to change the receiver outlook. I don't know if I want to have DK Metcalf in with Geno Smith.
Oh,
I know. I have Tyler Lockett.
It's a tough call.
Too. I'm worried about Tyler Lockett as well.
But
yeah, I'm still thinking about it.
You'll have plenty of time. I don't think they play on Sunday or tomorrow night, but we'll see what happens this week. Lots of good teams, lots of good games, lots of good storylines. Thank you guys for coming. That's going to be it. We're going to get out of here. That was the Wuss. We're back.